Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great to be here, and it's a great opportunity also to look, because I think we are, as a ICT industry, we are today at a crossroads, and I think cloud computing is probably where we were when I'm the software engineer by profession, and I think we are where we were like 17, 18 years ago when we were moving from DOS platform to the graphical user interface. That's the amount of changes we will have, and the cloud will give us a lot of new opportunities. But related to the Europe and European Union, I think if you look at the EU concept, last 50 years, I must say it was a great success. We didn't have any war. We did quite well economically, and based on the European history, it's a pretty good. But if you look in the future, where is the European competitive edge? What happened, especially last 10 years? In Asia, we created, and it's not only in Europe, it's also United States, because of the crisis, there's a huge public debt everywhere, right, in the Western Hemisphere. While in Asia today, we have $4.5 trillion US surplus, out of which 2.4 is sitting in China. So it's kind of the financial situation. If you look into the competitiveness, we are sometimes foolish in the Western Hemisphere, thinking, hey, China and those countries in Asia, they are kind of the cheap hands. But ladies and gentlemen, they are getting very innovative. China last year did more patents than the whole EU together, right? And they are really, moving fast. And I'm the sport guy by, in my youth, I played, tennis. And what I realized, whether it's tennis, running, if you want to be successful, you need to run faster today than you were running yesterday, and you need to run faster than the others. And while I think EU last 10 years was sometimes running faster today than the yesterday, we were for sure not running faster than the others, right? And I think the future is about, running faster than the others. And that's where I think the EU 2020, the new European agenda, is heading. To me, and I call it kind of the digital paradox, because computers and all computing, power, they will empower, the human society. And in fact, today already, computers are better in logic than the human beings. Computers are beating best chess players in the logic already today. So if you want to be successful for the future, it's about creativity and innovation. And if I would point, one book in that, direction, that would be Daniel Pink's book, A Whole New Mind. Daniel Pink used to be speechwriter for Al Gore. It's a tiny, book. You can read it in 4 hours. And what Pink is speaking about, we will move from the model made in to the model invented or designed in, right? And we will, in fact, compete mainly through the ability, whether we are individuals or companies or the nations, we will compete mainly through the ability to unlock human potential. And that takes, obviously, very different approach than last 30 or, 4 years. And one, example I would use, because the EU, they just, accepted last week the Granada Declaration about the new, digital agenda for Europe. It's basically saying that 50% of the productivity gains, the productivity growth, it's driven by the ICT. And I think with the cloud computing, our intention should be to hire, to move even higher. Now, let me talk a little bit about, what a cloud is, in fact, right? What is it, right? And my daughter, we were just, getting last week, because we were stuck because of the volcano in the US with Paul and others from the leadership team for, additional 5 days. And we were getting all the country managers, the small, it was like the cushion, and it looked like a cloud, and it said, we are all in. And I gave it to my daughter in Prague. I'm the Czech origin, right? And my daughter said, well, because you were all stuck in the cloud, right? This is it. So this is not the volcano cloud, okay? Let's make it very clear. This is not volcano cloud. We are talking about something different. No, the cloud it's a huge breakthrough in our industry. And, there's some definition. It's a standard set of, IT capabilities like, software, applications, the infrastructure delivered through internet. And it's used, it's paid by per use base, and it's self-service. So it may sound, you know, scientifically, but in general, we are moving from today, you are paying for capacity of your ICT. We are moving to the model where you will pay basically for the usage. So we will have kind of the electricity model, and that will change everything. And if you take about, if you just take, you know, national competitiveness, whether it's, you know, economy, public sector, infrastructure, or the business, it will change all of those parameters. And the countries and the companies who will, you know, sooner use those capabilities will be better. Because cloud, in general, if you take it from the economical point of view, I think cloud will save money. Cloud will make people, organizations, and countries more productive and do it in a very innovative way. Now, to go a little bit into the, you know, history, right? Because as I said, you know, I'm the software engineer by profession. So I remember, you know, that time, you know, the mainframe era, the client server, web, and now we are moving to the cloud. But one example I'm always giving, I was born, I'm now 48. I was born in 62. Ladies and gentlemen, in 62, the all computing power of NASA was smaller than what is computing power in my mobile phone today. That's the power of technology. And through the cloud, we are putting all of that, you know, together. And in fact, you will see on-demand, you know, service, what you have today with electricity. There will be broad availability of, you know, network access. In fact, yesterday I visited our data center here in Dublin. And the funny thing is, I was obviously interested a lot in servers, but much, you know, bigger interest it draw to me was really what is like redundancy model. What is the, you know, if we are losing power supply, what are the systems? It's fascinating. And it's once you are there, it's building much better confidence into the cloud and what can be delivered. The resource pooling, the funny thing is you are putting all computing power there, and you should understand the Moore law will continue it. The Moore law says, and it's fascinating in our business, it says that every 18 to 24 months, you have 100% better microprocessor, because that's what Moore law says, and that will continue. You don't have any other business. I remember when I was, you know, programming some stuff, the storage, you know, where you save the information was always issue. Today, storage is no more the issue, right? So it's a big, you know, gain there. Then if we talk the elasticity, right, you know, because there are obviously some peaks in demand, right? It's a fantastic, and you have measured services. You have like the scorecard, what you use and how you use it. So it's a new, you know, direction, and there's obviously a lot of excitement among the customers and also among the partners. Now, the question is, why cloud? And people should understand that, you know, we are in the cloud. Because if you are using, like, you know, Hotmail services or, you know, Live Messenger or other, you know, company services. In fact, I wanted to show you how I'm interoperable. I'm using, you know, Apple Clicker here. Okay, so it is. And it's a Microsoft platform. So you are there. And the thing is, I was just, you know, very much interested in, you know, a couple of numbers, right? Every day, what we have, the assets, Microsoft is having like MSN, you know, Hotmail. We are handling, if you take like just instant, you know, messages, you know, the people are communicating 10 billion instant messages a day, which is, you know, fascinating, right? And all the other numbers on, you know, storage, the petabytes, it's a big, you know, stuff, right? So we are, in fact, what I'm always saying that, you know, on consumer side, we as a company, we are there for 30 years. In enterprise space, probably that's kind of my era because I joined, you know, 17 years ago. We are there 20 years. And in the cloud, we are, you know, 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff happening there already. And the funny thing, what I do believe, why the cloud will speed up, because there's a lot of, you know, opportunities there, but also the young generation, you know, will speed up the overall acceptance of the cloud. I can give you one point, which is funny. My daughter, she asked me Sunday evening, I was flying here, and my daughter asked me, hey, Dad, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Ireland, and I will speak about smart economy, right? How, you know, the cloud will enable smart economy. And my daughter said, well, if you want to be open and honest, you need to tell them that I'm smarter with technology than you are, right? And she is right. She is right. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is first time in the human history when the young generation understands and uses technology in a better way than the current generation. It was never, ever, before. And that will speed up all, changes. And that's all what we talk today about consumerization of enterprise space. If we want to, look, we compete, obviously, with people like Google. If we want to be relevant as a company in the Web 2.0 era, we need to hire a lot of young generation. And they are putting us under the pressure. Hey, we wanted to use Facebook in Microsoft. We wanted to use Twitter and all of that stuff. And that's what we need to, as an enterprise, we need to integrate it. That's our own experience, how to have a talent in the company. Now, that's kind of the why cloud. Now, let me say a couple of things. Why now, right? I think in the new economics, and there is an interesting point from Gartner. They are basically saying that by 2012, there will be 80% of the 1,000 top enterprises using cloud computing services, and 20% of them, and it's mind-blowing, they will not use their own IT assets like the servers, whatever, the equipment. No. So it's about the new economics. Predictable cost, and we are, if you are like economists or financial people, we are really moving from CapEx to OpEx. And I know your, Paul, your background is financial background. It's a big, big thing, right, in a way. Then, reduce management. If you think about like patching, if you are, using like the new, versions or some patches, it's no more problem in cloud. And then, redefining productivity. And if you think in the sense, because think about competitiveness of the country, which got like 4 big pillars. One is economy. It's a GDP, it's the inflation, it's employment, and etc. But that piece is giving you only like the snapshot how your country is doing. The other 3 pieces, which is the quality of public sector, which is the quality of infrastructure, whether it's basic infrastructure or things like healthcare, education, the R&D. And the last piece, which is like the business environment, it looks much more ahead. All of that will be influenced heavily by cloud computing, right? And the smart governments, they should start to think, hey, okay, it's like in Ireland, right? Because if I got, smart economy right, the intention is to fix public finance, which is, necessary to do, but not sufficient. If you wanted to stay competitive, you need to look ahead. The quality of public sector, the skills you have in the country, and obviously the business environment. And Ireland's got a lot of good things to build on. Yesterday, in fact, some media, they were very surprised that I was very positive. I said, look into the last 25 years. Don't look on last 1.5 years. I mean, we created that everywhere for the good reasons, to keep, people working and to keep, economy running, right? So this is it. So that's kind of the why now. Let me now talk a little bit, and that's from Steve Ballmer, speech, the 5, dimensions of cloud, right? Cloud, obviously, the cloud computing creates new opportunities. And you should think about, new kind of the creators. Yesterday, mind-blowing example, company called HR Locker, right? It was a company which they were included in our program called BizSpark. It's a startup program which we are very proud to have like 400 companies here in Ireland. But what they did, the guy said, I have 0 servers in my company, and it's an ICT company, and it's my intention to keep it like that. So he's hosting application in data center here, but he was flying today to China. He will do the same in Hong Kong. So if you think about it, you don't need to have a subsidiaries, and you offer, it's a good application how to manage HR for small and medium business. You offer basically that, application worldwide. So that's a new opportunity for, creators, right? If you think about artists, the young artists, what they can do, whatever is your content, you can do it. But there are also responsibilities. We talk over the lunch about privacy, security. The big issue will be data sovereignty, right? Because your data will be hosted maybe somewhere else, or public services data will be hosted in your country, the whole stuff with the backup. So it's opportunities and responsibilities. Then the other thing is cloud will learn and help you to decide, basically, and take action, right? Because today, I struggle a little bit, honestly, because obviously, the search is a great thing, but you are still getting, last 6 years, you're still getting the blue links. for me, 5 years from now, I want to, my search engine to help me to get me ready. If I'm visiting 5 years from now Dublin, I would like to be, ready for that visit. If I would put like my agenda there, my, search, which should help me to decide, should put together like the briefings, all other stuff, what happened in the country, what Prime Minister said, maybe what the, Commissioner, she had some, PR issues just, recently. All of that stuff which I'm reading in the newspapers, I should, get it through that engine, and I think that should be possible. Cloud obviously enhances, social and professional interaction. I just met, and it's a mind-blowing, I just met some, scientists, and she said, like, thanks to the, she put some game in the Facebook, and suddenly, in 2 weeks, she got like 5 million people, and she said, if I would, and it was like disease simulation, she said, if I would do it in the real life, it would take me a couple of years to do it. Okay, that's the power of, cloud and the social networking. Clouds want smarter devices because the idea is really whatever device you will have. And for me, I'm like the computer guy, whatever, so I have a lot of devices. For my wife, she is now 50. The main device is TV, right? And I'm always, making fun out of that because she's browsing, sometimes using that and that. She learned how to do SMS last year, which was fantastic. It was like 50th birthday, thing. And she's a doctor, right? So she doesn't get it. But her main device is a TV. And she struggles very young. She can distinguish Europe or United States, if you would ask her today, because she cannot, reach my calendar through the TV. That will be possible very soon, because the idea is whatever screen you are using, that information should be available, right? So that's the idea. And obviously, the last is kind of the technical point. Cloud drives the servers, and advances in the servers are, driving the cloud. Now, let me touch a little bit the new European agenda, and then I will speak and give you a couple of examples what cloud computing can do for the EU 2020. And as I said, it is about, smart, sustainable, and inclusive growth. And I think those are all right priorities: innovation, youth on move, on education, digital agenda, resource efficient, where in fact Europe can have a competitive edge still, I believe. The industrial policy, it's about, small and medium business, skills and job, and platform against the poverty. But if you think about that, what, cloud computing and ICT can do for that, it is amazing that each and every piece can be enabled by, the cloud and cloud computing, right? Because those are, when I talk about those, 4 pillars of the national or regional competitiveness, this is it. And I'm, strong believer that if we do, it's kind of the chance for Europe to, because we've got this Lisbon agenda 10 years ago, right? It was like, hey, we wanted to catch up with the US, and we wanted to be even better than the US. That was it. We didn't take into account what was happening in Asia at that time. Unfortunately, we didn't catch up with the US, and I think the gap was, bigger. And I'm not talking about Ireland, because as I said, in Ireland, majority of the time, your country, if you take last 10 years, you were running faster than the year before and faster than the others, right? And if you take, and I made it yesterday with the Prime Minister, if you take like competitiveness, you have a public finance issue, but if you take like long-term things, skills, the attractiveness for the investors, we just invested $500 million with the data center here, it's all, there. So I think, the island can be, because you made last 25 years, 25 years ago, you said, well, ICT is the thing, so we will do the high tech. Next 25 years will be about the cloud computing. So I think the way we should think about this country is like, it can be the cloud computing excellence center, right? But it can also address, finally, what we need to do in Europe. Because in Europe, there is obviously, I talk about the public finance, but then the other challenge we have, in addition to competitiveness, it's a demography. Because in Europe, demography is like, if you wanted to have a flat population, you need to have 2.1 children per woman, okay? The European average is 1.6, and we have a very nice social system which we love, but it will not be enough money unless we do, reforms here in Europe, right? The healthcare, social pension reforms. We will not be able to keep with that system. And there will be, I mentioned Asia. A lot of Asian countries will have what they call demographic dividend. If you take India, there'll be 6 people working per one pensioner or dependent guy, like, you know, students, right? It is for Europe, it's a big issue. And with demography, obviously, if we will agree today, hell, we will change demography, you know, and we will try hard today, it will happen 20 years from now. So you need to look into things like, you know, the savings, more savings, encourage people to work, you know, longer, perhaps, you know, smart immigration and etc. But technology there, because of the reforms, can do a lot. And let me use a couple of, you know, cases, what I would like to talk about, you know, about the magic of software and magic of cloud. I mentioned, if you take strengthening the economies, I mentioned the case with HR locker, right? It can make, you know, the cloud can make the SMEs in Europe much more competitive. The other one we showed was a trade facilitate, which is a great thing because it's all about the trade, and there's more trade between, you know, Asia, US, and Europe. It's a great company here in Ireland. Whatever, each and every piece you do, it needs to be enabled through that, you know, solution. If you take, I talk about the consumerization of the ICT, but promoting, you know, online, the healthy ecosystem, it's this is a very, you know, important piece. And I mentioned, you know, young generation in conjunction with that, right? It kind of the consumerization of the IT. And whenever I try to be like every week at some university in Europe, I think the young generation is the future for this, you know, continent and for the EU. But we need to do a good job to keep, you know, young generation and talented people in Europe, and also attract people from abroad, right? I'm in some organizations like, you know, the Junior Achievement and ISEC, and it's amazing what the young generation, you know, what those, you know, guys are doing with the technology. The last piece, like, and I will pick up 3 big, you know, challenges I see today. One, I mentioned, is the healthcare. Today, from the economical point of view, today healthcare, take the biggest item in the European healthcare cost is chronic diseases, because we treat people once they are sick, and it costs almost 7% of the European GDP. Imagine that we connect through the cloud, through the smart cloud applications, we connect your, you know, well-being or your, you know, wellness, what do you do with your life, with your healthcare, right? It's kind of, you know, getting on a mobile device, on your PC, notifications, hey, this is special, you know, whether you should get special diets, right? And you may say, well, you know, older generation, they would not do it. But everybody, even older generation, they are carrying mobile phones. This is possible today. Take, you know, health records, right? Today, your health record, each and every doctor, I'm sure, each and every doctor in Dublin is having special health record on the paper. Once you will have health records sitting in cloud on the secure place, that information will travel with you not only in Ireland, but in Europe and the worldwide. That's possible today to do. We have, in fact, you know, solution, it's called Health Vault, right? And, you know, if you compare like finance industry with the healthcare, in the finance industry, you are empowered. If you travel, you can pay online, you have a credit card, everything. But the most important piece for your life, it's your health. We are not empowered yet. And it can save money for Europe, and it can make healthcare much better. What I'm saying that the countries which will do good job in healthcare, there will be more competitive countries, because healthier population means happier population, and happier population means more competitive, right? And this is it. The second piece, it's education, and we were very glad to have, you know, a couple of students with some very innovative teachers yesterday on the stage. I mentioned creativity and innovation, kind of, this is it. Future is really, you know, they're unlocking human potential. But if you think today, I mentioned, you know, my daughter and what that generation is doing, you know, with technology, and you should understand, if they have an issue, my daughter suddenly, because she was always in international schools in Germany, in Czech, whatever, you know, right? She's able to bring like 24 different kids, you know, from 3 different continents in like 5, whoever is online. Christina is getting them on Skype. Hey, let's have a telephone, you know, let's have a Skype conference live, what we can do, you know, how we can solve the homework. This is it. But the school is mainly about the blackboard and chalk still, okay? There's a huge, you know, gap there. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you've got my point. The school is still too much logic-based, you know, memorizing, and the future is creativity and innovation. And imagine the model where, you know, the facts will be delivered through the cloud, through the computers in a very nice, you know, way. and like 30% of that curriculum should be the same for everybody. But then 70% can be individually based on the strengths of those kids. And the teacher can be like the mentor or the coach of those, kids. And you can involve even the other kids. If my daughter, she is good with the history, so she is teaching the other kids, because they believe, hey, this is it, right? They believe in other kids. The other can, teach mathematics. So there are absolutely new opportunities in education. And I can tell you, again, I don't want to, create kind of, hey, Asia is running so fast. But if you take countries, I was just recently hosting a couple of professors from Korea, right? 10 years ago, would you buy Korean TV? Probably not. Today, I replace, like, I used to have all Sony, TVs. It's all Samsung now. I asked them, how is it that the quality is so good now? They said, because 15 years ago, we decided education is mantra for this country. It's for the individuals and for the whole, country. So they are really making, huge progress there. The last point I wanted to make, it's on, energy and environment. Imagine the situations, again, where, you will have a smart devices, whether it's refrigerator or some other, like the wash machine, and that, device, because of the, cloud computing, can be used in the moments where it's, the energy is cheapest and it's the best in the environment sense. And I will show you one piece, what we did already based on the cloud computing with the European Environment Agency, which is a good, example. So I think we are running a little bit out of the time. I talk about, 3 screens, about the vision, whether it's, PC, mobile, or TV at home. You can still have cloud on premises, because I was asked during the lunch, I was asked the question, how about the public sector? Because if you will have, intelligence service or defense, they would like to have a cloud probably there, right? But there will be a lot, other examples. So that's the Microsoft vision. And it is really about seamless client-server computing. So you will have a lot of, assets sitting in the cloud. You will have, obviously, the opportunity to have, all of those devices and by you. And then also, if you wanted to have, servers on your premises, it will be like that. The last comment I wanted to make will be on this, great showcase with the European Environment Agency. And you can, in fact, if you go to eyeonearth.eu, you can get, the webpage, and we don't have a time to do the live demo. But basically, what it does, it shows you the quality of water wherever you are in Europe, and there are like 3,000 different meteorology stations, You can do, basically, and it can be sent to your mobile phone, whatever. You can do it wherever you are in Europe. You can, get this information, not only from them, but you can rate. If I'm in Dublin today and I was, running in Trinity College and I felt the fresh, air, I said, well, I will say it's a very good, the air is, I don't know about the sea, right? Yeah. But the air is very good. You can do that. And it's based on, Bing Maps for the enterprise. That's, solution we have. And it's totally hosted in, Azure. And there's a quote from when I launched it with Jacqueline McGlade. She's the executive director of the European Environmental Agency. She basically said that this is a good example of how you can use, in conjunction with environment, how you can use technology in cloud, right? Because the funny thing is, we were not thinking about it, but what happened basically that, some governments, there's a competition still in Europe. So they compare, one to the other, and they wanted to have a good, ratings. And we are getting like 160,000 hits a month. So that's the, example where, cloud is today. So with that, I'll finish this piece, and we open the Q&A. Thank you very much.